Welcome to our live cast, everybody. Thanks for being here. Super excited. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and you're looking forward to a great New Year's. I am excited to put 2020 behind me. It's been a crazy year, but it's also been a good year. There's been horrible things, there's been great things, but I think this year it was even more. I think you have the ups and the downs every year, but this year was like the ups and the downs were just like, wow. So I'm excited for 2021 and to be celebrating that, but I hope you had a great Christmas this year. And thanks so many of you for being with us today. Super excited for that. We're going to talk today about how to scale your real estate investing. Whether you're just getting started or you want to keep going and scaling it to do more and more deals. So some of the things you're going to learn today is what the key is to scale your real estate. Free ways to find properties. Again, I said free ways to find properties. We're going to talk about top paid ways to find properties. We're going to talk how many offers you need to make to actually get a deal and how long it should take to find a profitable deal. We want to make sure everybody's on the same page for how much time goes into that. This show's for entertainment purposes only. Before you make any financial moves, consult real estate professional, attorneys, CPAs, or other professionals who's an expert on the subject matter. Everybody's situation is different. There's not one size fits all approach or guarantee to work. DHA may receive payments from sponsorships, guests in the forms of books, giveaways, items, discounts, or other remediations. As with anything in life, results come from education, following a system, hard work, and a determination to follow through until the end. Welcome, everybody. Please state your first name and where you are investing. The city that you're investing is really helpful for me. I build content and those things around it. If you are watching this as a recording, please join us live. Every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we do this live cast. But I need to tell you in full disclosure, I recorded this in advance. I'm spending some time with my family and wanted to get this, but I did all the work and I've got some incredible things to share with you. So please, join us for that. But I won't be able to respond to your comments live like I normally do. However, John will be responding to the live comments as they come in asking questions. And here's what I'll tell you. If you ask some great questions that he can't get the answer to, if you stump him, that's fantastic because I will be answering all of those in our next session after the new year. And so I'm excited for that. So please join in, ask questions, participate just like normal. Let's get into our free swag segment. I know this is a popular one. Today we're going to give away some swag. So at the end, this person's already been decided. At the end of the slides, it's going to show up here. This is our swag box that's getting sent out to this person. We've got our financial freedom system. It's got a DVD, a USB, and a workbook all in here. Super awesome content. You're going to love that. We got a water bottle coming out to them. We've got a hand gripper. We've got a Do Hard Money mask coming your way. We also have an insulated water bottle holder. We've got a killer shirt. I flippin' did it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We send these out as people do deals as well, so get yourself one of those. We've got a stress house. We also have a jump rope. What else we got in here? We've got a ice pack and a Do Hard Money sticker. Please, whoever wins this, please take some pictures, post it on social media, tag us. We would love to see you sporting our Do Hard Money free swag gear that we're sending out. So that the person for that has already been decided. We'll be announcing that at the end of today. But this week's winner, so what you want to get for this week by giving good comments and everything else, this is what we're going to be sending you. So this week, we are going to send you one of my favorite shirts. I made it through rehab. I'm wearing that shirt today as well. I made it through rehab. This is a killer shirt. This idea came to us from one of our project managers. Project managers are a company, are the ones that help you get through the rehab process, working with their contractor with the hiccups and things. So shout out to Rocky, one of our project managers. He came up with this idea for a t-shirt because rehab is hard and it kind of has a double meaning, which we think is hilarious. So I hope you enjoy sporting that. I wear this shirt around and people are like, they don't know They're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yes, I am. I made it through rehab. We've got a DHM water bottle here. We've got another insulated thing. We've got another DHM mask coming your way. You sporting those. Stress house. All this is coming your way. This is what we'll be giving away next week. So based upon the comments, the feedback, that's what we're looking for, so you can become the swag winner for next week. Again, we'll announce this week's winner at the end of this live cast. So who wants to win some swag? I'm going to grab a drink while you're thinking about that. You shouldn't have to think too hard. All right, well, type in the comments if you want to win some swag. And let's talk for a minute how to get the swag. You got to ask great questions, have positive comments, comment through the recording YouTube. So comment on the recorded YouTube. So once we do this as a live cast, it becomes a recording, and you can go back and watch that recording, or you can just go back to that recording and type some comments about what you thought. I would love for you to type in what you're planning to do. What is your takeaway? What action you're going to make because of this? That's what I really would like to know, is what you're planning on doing. Love high interaction, lots of comments, lots of questions, lots of feedback. And based upon all of that, I will choose one person that I'll be giving this to be our swag winner. Again, this week's winner we'll announce at the end, and next week's winner, this we'll be announcing next week. So thank you for your comments. The comments you put in the chat, like you're doing now, and the comments you put on the recorded videos means a lot to me. That's why I do this. I want to help other people get to where they want to go. And so I want to help you achieve the success you're looking for, or be a part of that. So if you like these live casts and you want to see them continue, I really need your help. Currently, we have 4,515 subscribers. Our goal was 4,500 by the end. We have surpassed that. We've got a few days left before the new year rolls around and we can ring the bells in for 2021. But I want to more than surpass the goal. So my updated goal is 4,525. So a big thank you to all of my subscribers that are out there. We've more than surpassed what we wanted to have for subscribers this month, and we want to see that continue. So please, we're 10 subscribers. So if you are watching this right now and you're currently not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. If you're on Facebook or you're on somewhere else, go to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, because I would love to have you. And if you type down that you're our newest subscriber, please put in the comments, hey, I'm the newest subscriber. I would really appreciate it, because every single day I am doing new videos. I'm uploading new videos every single day. Here's a few, but every day I'm uploading a video, and it's a specific question, answer something. And so they're typically 3 to 7 minutes. They're really quick, and they answer a specific topic, and I'd love to have you ask some questions. So if you have a question, you can just type it in the comments on any of these short form videos, a little 3 to 7 minutes, and I will answer that in a future video just for you. I've done some of those this week and super excited. It takes us a couple weeks before we get out to you. Sometimes longer, just depends. We'll post that on YouTube. Please hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell notifications on YouTube. Our channel is Do Hard Money, which we're all about real estate and personal finance and investing. Leave a comment on the recorded video. It means a lot to me to get that, and please tell somebody else about this. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, please spread the good word. Okay, like always, we're going to get into a little bit of a real estate market update. What's happening in the market? What's going on in the market? If you haven't already seen, I put together a 2021 forecast. We did it as a live cast a couple of weeks ago. I highly encourage you to look at it and help you understand what to do for 2021 as far as investing, planning, and what you should be thinking about. So check that video out if you haven't already. I want to talk a little bit at the Washington Post said how Biden's proposed tax credit could help and hurt first-time home buyers. So plan for first-time home buyers. Home buyers have the potential to help them overcome a major obstacle to home ownership, the daunting down payment. But with those historically low inventory of homes for sale, the move could also hurt them by exacerbating demand on high prices. So part of Biden's plan, and this hasn't come to fruition yet, this hasn't been approved yet, but one of the things he wants to do is basically eliminate down payments or come around them some way. That would then make more demand for houses, which can be good and bad for us, depending upon what we're doing. And so they're saying, hey, this could help, and it could also hurt, because right now we don't have enough supply, and that's going to increase even more demand. So I'd be surprised if he did this right away or if this happened right away based upon our current, but it is part of his forecast for the next 4 years. So something you got to be thinking about. Biden's first down payment tax credit, if implemented, could create a permanent refundable tax credit for first-time homebuyers. First-time buyers are defined by the federal government as people who have not owned a residence within the previous 3 years. So if you haven't owned a house in 3 years, this would qualify you as a first-time buyer. Some industry experts, the National Association of Realtors, are a little concerned that the tax credit could cause demand to rise prices higher because this is more people that want to buy. So it'll be interesting how this plays out, but this could be really interesting. The idea is, hey, go put a down payment down and we will put that against your taxes. You'll get a tax credit for that. So basically, whatever you paid in a down payment, you won't have to pay that against your taxes, your income taxes to the IRS, which is kind of an interesting concept. They go on to say, we anticipate that this will push prices higher. Pretty basic economics. It's demand side increase without a concurrent increase in supply. See, the country needs you guys. The country needs you to go out, find these properties that are in need of repairs, fix them up, and get them sold. The country needs you, man. One would expect prices to rise. So while the tax credit will open the doors to home ownership to some who cannot otherwise be able to purchase, it may not open it very wide because there's not enough supply. And that's something that's going to be continuing or could continue in 2021. Check out that video. RIS Media reports Yoon, who is the chief economist for the Association of Realtors, predicts that home sales could be 20% higher in the third and fourth quarter compared to the prior year. Additionally, he sees home sales rising more than 5%, possibly 10% in 2021 as a vaccine becomes available and possibly leads to faster job growth with still favorable mortgage rates, which could stay near the 3%. HSBI, this is the housing index that talks about the optimism, basically has a few interesting things according to their chief economist of Fannie Mae. Only 57% of respondents said it was a good time to buy a house now. That's down 60% from last month, and last November was 61%. So we're seeing a mild decrease on that, but this is what's interesting. 35% of people said it was a bad time to buy, which is unchanged from October, but it's down abruptly from the 46% it was in the pre-pandemic. So before the pandemic, 46% of people said it wasn't a good time to buy a house. Now, 35% of the people are saying it's not a good time to buy a house. So that has gone down. So that's interesting. More people think it's a good time to buy a house is what's interesting on this, even though we don't really see it here. And obviously, there's it's a survey, so you are going to have some crossover. Following the 2020 presidential election, there's been a noticeable uptick of real estate activity in New York City and other big cities. Among other things, Biden is likely to remove the SALT cap, which limits on itemized deductions for home mortgage interest and state and local taxes enacted under Donald Trump. I'm not going to get into the politics at all, but this is something we should be interested in and know as real estate investors. Since property taxes tend to be higher in suburban outside big cities, a repeal of the SALT cap would benefit those who already choose to relocate from cities during the pandemic. National inventory declined 39.2%, meaning there's 39% less houses available. Inventory, meaning houses that are currently for sale, there's 39% less than there was. The November national median home price was $348, which is up 12.7% compared to last year, but down $350 from the same time in August. Nationally, the typical home sale took 58 days on the market. In November is 13 days less than the same time it was last year, meaning things are selling faster, which we realize because we have the supply and demand issue. The median listing price grew 12.2% year over year to $350,000. This is acceleration from September when prices grew by 11%. A severe lack of homes for sale continued despite improvement in newly listed homes. Newly listed homes were down 7.7% compared to last year, but this is a substantial improvement from September when new listings were down 13.8%. CNN reports national home prices have never been higher, driven up as a surge demand due to record low mortgage rates coming up against historically low inventory for home sales. The average interest rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage is 0.6%. Points paid is 2.8%, down 6 basis points, falling from 3.69% a year ago. What is happening in your area? I'd be interested to know. Please type it in the comments. Let me know what's happening in your area. Are you seeing prices go up? Are you seeing demand? Is supply an issue? You having a hard time finding properties? What is going on? Type it in the comments. I would love to know. And then we'll jump into our COVID-19 update. Okay. It's like 1,000 times smaller than a grain of sand, this little COVID thing here. Crazy. Okay, nationally, we're seeing an uptick in most areas, so this is approximately where we're at right now. Everything to this side is actual. This side is actually a forecast. Ling Ling, who lives in Georgia, was one of our winners for our swag winners. Georgia has 7,815 beds. They have 3,315 in use. You can see it looks like the uptick there higher than they've ever been, with about 3,000 in use there. And it looks like it's going to continue before it levels off there. That, again, this is a projection on this side. 10,000 hospital beds, currently 3,000 in use. You can see they had over 8,000 in use before, and it looks like they're on a trend up there in New Jersey, Ken. Actually, Ken, I think you're one of our first responders, aren't you? If I remember right. So anyway, thanks for all you do, man. ICR nurse in New York is among the first people in the U.S. to get an authorized coronavirus vaccine. COVID-19 shows the vaccine is 95% protection. BBC reports no significant safety concern. It's 100% safe. Alaska healthcare worker suffers adverse reaction after COVID-19 vaccine. I've seen this publicized a lot. I want to be really clear on this. It looks like she had an allergic reaction. It's the only one that we're aware of so far. And she left the hospital later. So basically, it didn't do anything. She had an allergic reaction, which people have every day to food. Alaska healthcare worker suffers adverse reaction. Like I said, I don't think it's a big deal, but we'll keep an eye on it. First mass air shipment of Pfizer COVID vaccines arrive, and airlines are preparing for it. Dr. Fawcett said U.S. could return to normal by mid-fall if most people get COVID vaccine. The first cases in China were back in November. We've got those 2 vaccinations. Second one's getting approved. Makes me hopeful we're getting closer to getting back to normality. Risk of COVID-19 exposure on planes is virtually non-existent if masks are worn. Mouthwash can kill the COVID-19 virus with a 99.9% effectiveness. One of the things I do is gargle with it when I come outside of a store or something that I've been in. Of course, I always wear my mask and gargle with that. So, some interesting things on COVID. What are you seeing on COVID? Type it in the comments. I would really like to know what you're seeing. And we're going to jump into our next segment here, which is our property finding tip. All right. I got to get a drink. One of the things I want to talk about today is pre-foreclosures. A pre-foreclosure is a foreclosure. A foreclosure is the process of a bank taking back the property. So when you go get a loan, that bank says, hey, I'll give you the money, but I'm going to lien that money against this property. So if you don't pay me, I'm going to take that property. The foreclosure is the process of the bank taking their asset that they loaned against. And it's a process. The foreclosed property is once it's actually completed. So the pre-foreclosure or the foreclosure process is what happens to get the property. A foreclosed property is when the bank actually owns the property and become the owner of the property. An REO, or real estate owned, this means the bank owns the property, also known as a bank-owned home. Foreclosed property, bank-owned home, REO, those are all interchangeable. Okay, so foreclosure is a process. It starts with the owner being late on loan payments. So the owner doesn't able to make the payments. Hey, I can't make the payments. They don't make the payments. And what happens at some point, this may be after the first few payments, it may be after 6 months worth of missed payments, but at some point, the bank is going to do what's called a notice of default or a lis pendens. Basically what this has done is it's filed at the courthouse saying, hey, we're filing a notice of default against this property, or what's called lis pendens. Depending upon where you live, it's going to be different. This notifies the entire world that the loan is actually in default, and this is required so other creditors can be made aware. For example, if there's a second loan on the property, they would need to know, hey, there's a lis pendens, there's a notice of default, which means there's a problem. So if they want to go and try and protect their interests, they can. Or if somebody else is owed money against that property, they can start recording, or they're aware of it. So it's called Public notification is what the notice of default is. This is public information, which means you and I can get access to it. And if you've got Investor's Edge, it's really simple to get access to it. You also have notice of sale and auction. This is where anyone can bid on the property. This is the next phase, okay? So you got your notice of default or lis pendens. And the next thing is they say notice of sale. The notice of sale means in a month, we're going to sell this property. We're going to auction it off. So you want to make sure that you'll be there. The bank typically will start the opening bid, and they'll start the opening bid usually for what's owed. They can do less if they choose to. They can do a starting bid, and they can continue to bid it up if they so choose. They can do whatever they want in that scenario. If nobody else bids, then the bank basically is the only bidder, and they end up being the owner of the property. If somebody else bids and the bank doesn't continue to bid because they're paid, gotten the money, then that person ends up owning the property. So once that notice of default lis pendens is filed, the bank files that notice of sale. This is the day that the auction actually takes place, and so you've got the bid. Now this is going to vary based upon state, but the majority of states, if you go to that auction and you say, I'll give you the money, you got to have the cash the next day. In addition, you have to have $5,000 to $10,000 earnest money that's required at the time of the bid, which is one of the reasons why us as a company don't lend on the foreclosure courthouse steps. So we don't recommend bidding because you can't see the property. It's hard to get title insurance on the property, and that can become a big problem. But we do recommend going after two parts of this: the pre-foreclosure, which is before the bank actually owns it, and the REO, or the post-foreclosure, once the bank actually owns it. The only part of this process is just the day of the foreclosure sale on the county courthouse steps. Now, there's lots of investors that do that. Don't get me wrong, but there's been a lot of investors that have gotten burned. They thought they were buying a first mortgage, and they actually bought a second mortgage. They thought they were buying a house that was in good shape, and it turns out it's in horrible shape. So you don't really know what you get when you go inside. And so those are some things to think about. Now, as you become more advanced, you might want to consider that. I've bought one foreclosure property from the courthouse steps in my lifetime, only one. And that was an interesting, kind of crazy situation. So it's not something you need to do to be successful as a real estate investor. So do the notice of defaults, do the notice of sales, go after those things. Now, there are some pros and cons to both of these. Let's talk about it. So the notice of default, remember, is just when they start getting behind on their payments. When they start getting behind, this is early, and some people think that they will get it taken care of, right? So it's early. Hey, I'll make up my payments. Everything's going to be okay. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about me. So you'll have a few people. Now, some people will say, I need to do something. Other people will do what I call bury their head in the sand and pretend like it's not a problem. But you can start a relationship with someone. You can go after these notice of defaults. Now, notice of sales, the pros and cons on this is typically 1 month before the sale actually takes place. Okay, so this could be hard to get the property closed. It might be a little bit too late. It may be a little bit too hard. And so you've got to kind of decide, but they're going to be more motivated, right? When the notice of sale happens, they're going to be super motivated. This house is not going to be yours in 30 days. Oh crap, I need to do something. Notice of default. Oh, I'll figure it out. I'll do that type of stuff. So you've got to decide. The notice of sale, it's going to be really quick to try and put a deal together. Notice lis pendens, notice of default. You've got a little bit more time because they haven't posted the notice of sale yet. So there's some pros and cons there. There's some psychology with the seller. I recommend going after both. I just think you have to know the difference. If you're going after the notice of defaults, it's going to be a longer process to get somebody. If you're going after the notice of sale, you've really got to be Johnny on the spot, and you're in a tight time constraints to make some deals happen. So I look at this with single family homes not listed on the MLS with $50,000 more of equity on the property. So with the CARES Act, there's been a moratorium on foreclosures in many situations. This has slowed it down considerably. But there are 4.3 million homeowners that have missed their mortgage payments in the last few months. The moratorium on foreclosures is set to expire in January. It may get continued, but at some point in 2021, it's going to have to stop, right? So there are going to be more pre-foreclosures this next year, and it's amazing amazing opportunity for us as real estate investors to go help people out, get them out of a situation. The earlier they work with somebody like us, the more money they'll get in their pocket. Otherwise, you got fees and costs and attorneys and all that. They get added. A lot of people don't realize whatever cost the bank takes on to foreclose on the property gets passed on to the person that owes them the money if they want to try and pay off that property. Knowing a property is in pre-foreclosure is not enough, though. Just knowing it is. You've got to make sure if somebody's an out-of-state owner but has no equity in their home, it's not going to be an opportunity for us to help them. So what I want to look at is single-family townhome, not listed on the MLS, $500,000 less, 30% more in equity. And that $500,000 is just random. In your area, if it needs to be $650,000, go $650,000. But I like to look at under $500,000. Okay, so let's talk about how we can actually do this. You're going to want to jump into Investor's Edge. This is our software. If you don't have the software, you can go to the county recorders and do this all with paper or create your own Excel. It's kind of a mess, but you can do it. Okay, how to do this? So let's just do Houston, Texas. Okay, Houston, Texas, okay? And you could do this by zip code. It just doesn't have to be by city. Let's do that. And we have all these buckets for different things, right? So one of the things that you're going to see here is pre-foreclosure. Look, there's only 202 in pre-foreclosure. It's because of this moratorium that applies to homeowners. Okay, so let's just click on that. So with this bucket of 202, what I've done is there's 202 people or houses in Houston, residential homes, that are single-family or townhouses that are not listed on the MLS, that have a notice of default, a lis pendens, an auction that is listed on that property. They are under $500,000 and they have 30% more of equity is what we're estimating. And here are those properties just right here. You can see some we don't have pictures. If we have pictures, it's because they were listed on the MLS in the last 10 or 20 years, and we copied those pictures and we keep them in here. If they don't have pictures, they haven't been listed on the MLS. These are amazing opportunities. So this guy owes $108,000. Right now we think it's $122,000 worth of equity. Oh, that was the last one. Never mind. That was a prior sell. He doesn't owe anything on this. We think there's $122,000 worth of equity on this, and he is in a pre-foreclosure status. This guy, the last one was $382,000. Currently, mortgage information. Looks like $382,000 was financed back in 2019. We think it's worth $427,000. There's some $50,000 of equity here. So what happens with this is you actually build this list. Now, are all these people going to want to sell? Heck no. But some of them are, and if you work them, you'll get them. You come in, you make a list. I've got too many. I've been doing too many searches, so I've got some limits set on here. And then the next thing you can do is some skip traces if you want to. Skip traces are only if you want to call them directly, voice broadcast them, or send an email to them. You only get charged for a skip trace if they are able to find it. The next thing you can do then is start doing some postcards. You don't need to do a skip trace to do postcards. This is the cost for postcard. This is printing, this is shipping, this is customization, this is everything. So on the postcards, just hit the next button here. These are all, sorry, taking a minute to load. We have tons of postcards in here. Come on. Investor only templates. And it's slowly loading here, but let's just take this one for example. Homes for sale, homes wanted. I want to buy your house, and then you can come in here and you can edit all this, and you can type in, whatever you want to type in, and it starts. See, it's changing it up there as I put the edits down here. So you can customize this. You don't need a graphics designer or any of that kind of garbage. You can put it whatever you want in here. This stays the same, but this content does, and you can put content over here as well. It'll update on this side, and then you hit a button and boom, it'll send it out to all those people that you just find. It makes it super easy to do the research, super easy to start finding those specific properties, these pre-foreclosure properties, which is what you want to be finding. So name that list, everything we've kind of gone through. We talked about skip tracing to send those voice broadcasts, the postcards. If you are going to do the skip traces, I recommend that you set up a Google number because you are going to get some hate mail. People are going to call frustrated. How'd you get my number? This is private. This is this. Because they don't understand that there's not a lot of privacy these days. And so we're getting that from public information, which is the whole idea of a skip trace. Basically, if you think of a private detective used to go and get all this information. That information was always public, but now with the advent of the internet and the advent of technology, you can now get that information accessible even more. So I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. You're going to have to spend between $1,500 and $15,000 to find a good deal. It just depends on where. If you're in the Midwest, it's probably $1,500. If you're in Southern California, it's probably closer to $15,000. Profits between 30 to 60 in Southern California. It's going to be higher profit, but that's what you're going to have to spend either in marketing cost or in time cost in order for you to find a good deal. And that's one of the things I find a lot of people getting started get frustrating with, is how long it takes to find a property, because it takes a long time or it takes a lot of money investment. Money just helps substitute for time to get it done faster or get it done more efficiently, but you got to start. Okay, what do you think about pre-foreclosures? Have you done any pre-foreclosures? Type it in the comments. Let me know if you've done pre-foreclosures, or if you'd like to do pre-foreclosures, or questions that you may have. Now, in full disclosure, I probably should tell you at this point, I am not doing this live. This is a recording. I'm spending some time with my family as we celebrate in the new year. And so I pre-recorded this, but John's going to be answering your questions live. And if you ask some great questions that he can't answer for you, we'll post it, put it on the next live cast so we can help you guys out, because we are here for you. Okay, I got to grab a drink before we get into this, how to scale your real estate investing. All right. So this is all about how to scale your real estate investing, whether you're just getting started or whether you've done some deals and you want to start doing more. We want to talk about how to scale, how to do more of them, how to improve the process. That's what we're talking about today. So what you're going to learn is what the key is to scale your real estate. You're going to learn free ways to find properties. You're going to learn top paid ways to find properties. You're going to learn about how many offers you need to make to get a deal to happen. You're going to learn how long it should take for you to find a profitable deal. The key to scaling your real estate investment, there is one key, okay, in investing, and it's to find properties. That's what most people just miss. Like, if you want to scale your real estate, you've got to scale your finding, which comes down to marketing and comes down to sales. If you want to do more deals, you got to find more deals. That's what it comes down to. And I find most people spend little time on finding and a lot of time on other things that don't produce results for them. So you've got to double down on your finding, either through spending money or double down in the amount of time you're going to spend doing that, or both, depending upon what your goals are. You have to find a way to continually find properties. You've got to build a little system that will bring properties in. Investing, putting time or money towards something that will produce a return in the future. Taking calculated risk with the expectation of return in the future, right? We're planting a seed and watching it grow, helping it grow. We still have to water it. If we plant a seed but do nothing, it's not going to do anything. We got to plant, we got to water, we got to watch it, those types of things. So if you're going to start a business, according to the government, the average cost to start a business is $30,000 up front before you make any money. This is just money. This doesn't include any time investment. So that's one of the reasons why real estate is such a perfect business. You can work from home. You can work part-time. You can make a lot of money. There's no equipment necessary. There's no inventory necessary. You don't have to worry about employees. There's a low upfront investment to get going. You can be successful in your own area. You don't have to move across the country to do it. There's no licensing. This is such a big one. No licensing. There's no degrees. You don't have to lease any office space and pay for that, or retail space. You can start on your spare time. You can keep your day job. And this is something that everybody needs. It's a basic necessity. Everybody needs a place to live, which is one of the reasons why real estate is such a perfect business, which means we got to talk about this whole idea of the investment process. The first thing you've got to do is learn. You're doing that here. You continue to do that through your lifetime in investing. And then we get into finding properties. And this is where the bulk of your time should be spent, is learning and finding. Finding, as soon as you have some knowledge, you can start implementing that, and then you get into finding. Next, we get into due diligence. This is values, inspections, under contract. The whole due diligence process is next. And then we get into contractor bids. knowing how to get bids and how to get contractors and how to make sure the pricing's right. And then you move into the funding and closing stage, financing the property, going to the title, making sure all that happens, like insurances and you name it. And then we get into project management. We've actually closed, and now we've got to make sure the deal actually gets done. The repairs get done on time, on budget. And then we get to staging and selling. These are the 7 steps to making a fix and flip actually happen. That's really what. Now, all of them are important, but the most time consuming and the most important and the key to scaling your real estate investing business is consistently finding deals. That is the key if you want to scale. This is where most people spend the least amount of time, but it's where they should be spending the most amount of time. And when they get frustrated, they give up. And I don't want that to be you. So let's just say hypothetically, let's just say you make $50,000 a year. You might make more, you might make less. Let's just use an easy number here. Let's say you make $50,000 a year. That's roughly $25 an hour. If you could make $35,000 in a fix and flip, which is about the average our customers make, if it took you 1,400 hours, you would be getting the same working on that fix and flip as you are currently getting paid at your current job. Okay? So basically what you're saying is, hey, if it took me 1,400 hours to do a fix and flip, I'd be making the same as what I was making. So that's worth it to me because I'm currently working for that amount. Okay? So you've got to think about that. But then maybe you say, well, come on, Ryan, I want to make a lot more money. I want to invest. I want to make more money. So I say, okay, how about we double what you're making? How about we give you a 100% increase, a 100% raise? Let's get you to $50 an hour. That would mean you'd be willing to spend 700 hours to make a fix and flip deal work if you're going to make $35,000. 700 hours would give you a 100% increase on what you're currently getting paid, okay? So you've got to think in these terms of how much time do I have to devote to actually make a deal happen, because I can tell you right now, there ain't no fairy godmother that's going to come and hand you the keys to a house. It just ain't going to happen. It only happens in the Disney movies. But I've never even seen that happen where somebody gets a free house. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. I maybe am. I don't know. So let's say it's 700 hours. But let's say you doubled your hourly, right? Let's say you do it. The first one takes the most amount of time. The second one's easier. The third one's easier. You get systems in place. You get processes in place. You know what you're doing more. You know how to sell. You know where you botched it. You know, like that's how this happens. Most of the 700 hours needs to be spent in finding properties. But then you're like, no, Ryan, I want like a huge pay increase. I want a 400% pay increase, okay? So if you took 350 hours to make a deal happen, you would be getting a 400% pay increase from what you're currently, 4 times more if you took 350 hours to do a deal. 400% more than what you're currently getting paid. And if we say it takes 350 hours to do a deal, this is very high, but it's a 400% pay raise. I think you can do it even faster than that. I don't think you need to spend 350 hours. You're going to have to spend hundreds for sure. The rehab portion of this is going to be 2 to 5 hours a week for 8 weeks. So about 40 hours is what you're going to need to spend in the rehab. Once you find the property in the rehab portion. The resale portion of this is 2 hours a week for 10 weeks. So about 20 hours. So you've got like 60 hours once you actually find that property. The due diligence, closing, getting the loan is about another 20 hours. So right here, you've got about 80 hours of work that's on the back end once you actually find that right deal. And these are all just give you averages, just to give you an idea. This is conceptual. So that leaves you 270 hours to find a property if you're getting a 400% increase on your hourly pay. And I think you can do that in 100 to 200 hours. It just depends on your skills, your experience, and everything else. Okay, so how many hours a week? Well, the more time you spend, the faster you will be able to find a good deal. I recommend 10 to 20 hours per week consistently every week. If you spend 20 hours per week doing the right things, using the right lists, marketing to the right people, saying the right things, which is part of what the education is, which isn't included in this time, you will find a deal in approximately 14 weeks or 3.5 months. If you're spending 20 hours every single week trying to find properties, doing the right things. If you spend 10 hours, you'll find a deal in approximately 28 weeks or about 7 months finding the deal. This doesn't include the rehab. This doesn't include the resale. This doesn't include any of that. This is just simply finding the deal. But keep in mind, it's a 400% increase on what you're currently making in your pay. And sometimes it happens a lot faster than this, guys. I think this is on the high side, but I want to give realistic expectations, especially if it's your first deal. So 3.5 to 7 months to find a deal. If you're spending 10 to 20 hours per week, every week doing the absolute right activities. If you're doing the wrong stuff, the time's wasted. The money's wasted. Okay, again, 3.5 to 7 months. Not in fix-up, not in resale. You need to be putting 10 to 20 hours a week in finding, and your first deal is always the hardest. It takes the most time. They're going to say, well, Ryan, I don't want to spend 270 hours to find a property. Well, this is how we get into scaling. How do you scale your real estate investing business? Well, you don't spend 270 hours. You got to use some money, which we're going to talk about. You got to do some marketing. We talked about this earlier. It's postcards, a voice broadcast, but it comes down to time versus money. If you want to spend money on marketing, it will cut down the number of hours it takes to get a deal. So rather than you having to go do the labor yourself, you're spending money, which will mean it's less hours. The 270 hours is you knocking on doors, making relationships. It's not with you spending money. If you don't have money to spend on marketing, you can still make deals happen. Or you can find the money to do that. You can find a business partner. You can get credit card finance. There's multiple ways that you can do this to actually get the money. Or you can just simply spend the time. So let's talk about some paid ways to find properties. And then we'll talk about some free ways, some paid ways using postcards. We talked about that. I showed you how to do that with our Investor's Edge software. Voice broadcasts are another way that's a paid way. You must do the skip trace first. There's a cost to that. You can do email blasts. This also requires the skip trace. You can do bandit signs, which you've got to buy. Now let's talk about some free ways to find properties. Driving for dollars. You drive around, you see a property that's in bad shape, you type that into Investor's Edge, you find out who that is, you make a phone call to those people, you do a text message, you leave a note on the door, you talk to the neighbors and say, hey, do you know who owns this? I'd love to get their phone number. And the next one is self-generated leads. This is where you're going out and making relationships with other professionals. So real estate agent referrals, bankruptcy attorney referrals, probate attorney referrals, funeral home referrals. People are going to funeral homes, families that are going in there that have someone that's passed away may own a property. Assisted living referrals. I've done this with assisted livings. I've done it with all of them. MLS Sniper. We have a whole video on this you want to check out called MLS Sniper. Check it out. Knocking on targeted doors. You got to have the right list, but knocking on target doors. These are ways, free ways for you to find properties. And lastly, working with local wholesalers, which is double-edged sword, but all of these may be a deep dive or a conversation for another day. Postcard by the numbers. Let me just give you an idea of what to expect. There are many different ways to find deals. Let's just use postcards. And you can do postcards, and you can do referrals, and you can make relationships, and you can do door knocking, right? So you can be doing multiple things. But if you sent 7,500 postcards to the right people, right? It's got to be the right people. You approximately would get 56 leads. Meaning 56 people would pick up the phone and call you. With those 56 leads, you get 14 appointments. You're not going to go on every lead. Some of these people are going to call and be mad at you. Some of these people are going to be, more on the house than it's worth. Some of these people are going to be crappy properties that you don't even want to even look at. So then you're going to end up with about 14 appointments, meaning appointments where I'm going to go to their house. With that, there's going to be few of those that I'm not even going to make an offer on. So I'm going to make an offer on about 10 of those properties. And with that, I'm going to end up getting one contract. So think of the time it takes for me to talk to these leads, talk to these appointments, go drive to their property, talk to them, put an offer together for those guys, and then actually get one under contract. So 7,500 postcards approximately turns into one contract. And this isn't any guarantee, but it gives you an idea of some statistics that we have seen in the past. Referrals, same thing. You get 56 referrals, you're going to go on 14 appointments. So if you have 56 times a funeral home calls and says, hey, somebody's passed away, here's a family member, this is their phone number, only about 14 of those are going to turn into appointments. 10 of those you'll make offers on, and 1 you'll get accepted. Now, I will tell you, the better you get at this, the more experience you have at this, the better these numbers will get, but there are always going to be a steep drop off as you go through those. Now, one of the things that we have is an offers calculator. This basically tells you how many offers you need to make in order to get a deal. So we look at your experience level. We look at if the property is occupied. We look at if it needs repairs. We look at the MLS status, the motivation, the equity, the price, how you're financing, if you have extra money. And this tells you how many offers you need to make in order to get a property. And again, this is an estimate. It's not a guarantee. But if you put these things in, it'll say, hey, you need to make 22 to 32 offers. You need to make 50 offers, 10 offers. The better you get at these, the better these things are. These are the things that have a factor in how many offers you actually need to make. So you can play with this. We also have this as a freebie on our website for our members. So the next thing you can do to help scale your real estate investing is to put together a team. After you have that marketing engine going, and I can't stress this enough, the marketing is the number one thing. You want to start putting a team together, okay? So rolling money from one deal to the next is another thing that you can do. Let me just go back to the team. You need a good real estate agent. You need a good lender. You need a good closing attorney. A lot of things you're going to need there. Rolling money from one deal to the next. So rather than spending the money you make on your first deal, you reinvest that money. You put it into marketing. You put it into the systems. Another thing you can do to scale your real estate investing is making multiple offers a week. Don't go a week without ever making offers. And you should always have 3 deals going. If you've got that marketing engine going, you have one that's under contract that you want to buy. You've got one that you're in the middle of the rehab with. You're doing the rehab. And you've got one that is completed and on the market for sale or hopefully under contract. So you've always got one. You have a property in each of those 3 stages at any given time. You're always pushing for that. All right, guys, I hope this has been helpful. If so, please put it in the comments below and let me know. This is our complete system that helps investors through their first home flip. It's called our Find, Fund, Flip system. We have dozens of hours of training. We have deal finding software. You already got a glimpse of that. Access to our 100% financing loans. Go over to dohardmoney.com/get started. Again, dohardmoney.com/get started. If you want our offer calculator, which is what I showed you earlier, go to dohardmoney.com, calculate-offers. Again, dohardmoney.com, calculate-offers, and you can get that deal calculator that I was just showing you about how many offers you need to make in order for you to get a property. If you have enjoyed this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up, the bell notification, leave a comment, and more importantly, tell somebody else about it. But don't forget to check out that offer calculator that I showed you. It's really helpful to help you know. I like to reverse engineer success. If this is what I want, how do I reverse engineer that so I can see the leading indicators, what I need to do in advance, and to help me get what I want to do. Check it out at dohardmoney.com/calculate-offers. We'll put that in the comments. I also like to know what you'd like for some future trainings on. Please type in the comments what you'd like to see for future live casts. Go ahead and just type it in the comments. Any of these things or something else that's on your mind, and we'll get it queued up for a future live cast. If you enjoyed this today and like what you've heard, please share this link on YouTube with a friend or several friends, and check out my podcast. It's called Income Hacker. Check out the Income Hacker podcast. Love to have you listen anywhere, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can do it. Now, so our weekly winner, who we're going to be giving away all this great gear to that we went through earlier. Our winner of the week is Matthew Garrick. Matthew, congratulations. We'll be sending this swag box out to you. Appreciate you listening in. All I need to have you do is email support@dohardmoney.com. In the subject line, put swag winner. In the body, put in your screen name, your mailing address, and your cell phone number, and we will get that swag out to you. Really appreciate you being with us and being our winner. All those who participated, find out who the swag winner is for this next week. Join us next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and we'll be announcing that. Again, don't forget to get that offer calculator, dohardmoney.com/calculate-offers. offers so you can get a free offer calculator, my free gift to you. Otherwise, guys, have a happy and safe New Year's, and we will see you in 2021. Have a great day, make it a profitable one, and bye for now.